Da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum, da-da-da-da-da-dum. What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! Well, back in today for another game review. Today, we're excited to check out two cases of the FDA from IDW Games. This is for 2 to 5 players. Age is 12 plus. It'll take you about 30 minutes to play. And in two cases of the FDA, you're going to be taking control of a detective from the popular comic book series. You're going to be trying to solve crimes, aka stringing together a series of colors in this Take That game. It tries to implement the Chew comic book theme heavily into the game, but doesn't succeed. Let's open it up and I'll tell you. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what's here inside of Chew Cases of the FDA. So before we get started, I want to mention that it comes with a comic book, the first issue of Chew, which is a really nice added cool touch. I really like that a lot. So that's big thumbs up on that. So next, you're going to get to the handy dandy rulebook, which is obviously pretty important. It is about 8-9 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, and examples. And this last page is just variants that you will probably never use because literally they tell you to eat spicy food or drink. So really not the best variants of the game, but still an added nice touch, I guess. So yes, in this game, you are going to be playing as one of the detectives, or you're going to be trying to solve a crime from the case. So you're going to have a couple different things. First, you're going to have these white cards right here, which will be the different cases. File of the fried figure, the mystery of the murdered mascot, bank job bloodbath. The important thing to note are going to be these colors right here, because this is where you're going to be starting your mystery. So you're going to randomly dealt one of these cards, like that. So we'd have the food truck felonies right here, starting over there. Then you're going to have one of these guys right here. These are going to be where you're going to end your mystery. So you're going to randomly draw one of these. So we are going to have to get from green to purple, and we're going to have to acquire 20 points in order to win the game. Now that is going to be easier said than done. Now, next you're going to have these chogs over here. These are going to count as currency, and that's their primary purpose in the game. They are nice little plastic miniatures. They are very cool, and they are from the comic book, obviously. So next you're going to have a row of clues set out. Now these are going to be various different clues, and the important thing to note on these are going to be the colors on the left and the right side, and also the number in the upper right. So as I mentioned, you need to get 20 points in order to win this game, and these are going to be where you're primarily going to get these points. However, you also have to pay attention to the colors because you're going to need to match up the colors with the card that you have the furthest on the left. So right now there is nothing out here that we could actually use to connect to our green, so that would be unfortunate. But luckily there are these cards up here, which I believe are called the acquisition cards. When you start the game, you're going to start off with 3 of these cards, but there's going to be tons of different cards here. They're going to do various different things. So I will show you them too. So the action cards. Discard 1 bad guy in play, or discard and replace 1 clue in the crime scene. So essentially we talked about earlier how none of these clues might work for you. You could go ahead and pay this card if you're willing to spend 1 chog, and then you'll be able to get rid of a clue and hopefully get a better one, or get rid of a bad guy, and I'll tell you about a bad guy in a second. Discard and replace 1 clue in the crime scene. Discard and place 3 clues in the crime scene. So as you can see, these clues are going to get replaced quite frequently. Next, you might also have a partner. This is going to help you out. When making a connection, you may take a clue from the top 3 cards of the clue discard pile. So this is incredibly useful. Also, another thing to note is that some of the partners are actually going to count towards your 20 points. Let's see if we can find one. So yeah, right here we have John Colby. He's a very useful partner. He's going to count 2 points towards the conclusion of your 20 points. And bad guys and pains in the ass cards may not be played on your mystery. He's incredibly useful, because let's get to a pain in the ass card so you can see. So as I mentioned, there are going to be tons of take that cards. So these are bad guys. What can happen is if someone else is willing to pay 1, they can connect this to your story. So on their turn, essentially what they can do is say, yeah, I'm going to play that right there. And that's really bad for you because you are now going to have to get rid of this by either discarding 4 chogs, because I see it's got the little ransom number right there, or playing a card that can potentially get rid of it. So there's going to be a lot of take that in the game. So there's also some various other cards. Chog Farm, double the number of chogs you have. So this one you can really play to hurt your opponents, because there is one mechanic that I want to mention before we get started with the gameplay, and that is that once there's no more chogs to take from here, instead of just saying, oh, there's no chogs, I guess I'm kind of screwed, what's going to happen is you're going to take chogs from your opponents, which you can really use strategically to help yourself out. So on your turn, what you're going to do, you're going to be able to take 3 actions, I should say. So your actions are going to be that you can either take 3 of any combination of these cards right here, or chalk. So essentially you could gain cards that are going to help you out, or that you can gain money. So once you've done all 3 of that, you can play any number of these cards from your hand as long as you have the money to do so. So you might steal a partner from someone else, but that's going to cost you 2. You might play the Diabolical Dictator. It's going to give somebody -2. That's going to be really, really annoying to them. You might play a partner on yourself when making a connection. Once per turn, you may spend 2 extra chalks to make 1 extra connection. So that's going to be incredibly useful because I'll talk about what a connection is right now. So once you've done all these cards that you can or want to do, you're going to make a connection. How you make a connection is that you are going to take one of these cards from up here and connect it if you have the ability to do so. So right now we don't, so we'll just discard some stuff so I can show you how that works. So yeah, this would be a perfect example. I've done all my things. Let's just say I have 1 chalk left, and I'd say, ooh, this pizza guy is very helpful to me, so I would now connect that pizza guy right there, replace this card, and my turn would be over. Now you might notice that this one, ooh, that's a special card. That is going to have a wild. So you can connect this to any card you want. However, it's only going to net you 3 points instead of 6 points. Now, if you're able to make a connection and it connects to right here and you have at least 20 points, then you're going to be the winner of the game. And you're going to do that over and over and over again. Everybody's going to take their turn, take 3 in either chogs or cards, and then try to make a connection. But along the way, there's going to be plenty of take that, pain in the ass as bad guys, and all sorts of stuff from the comic. But that, in a nutshell, is how Chew, Cases of the FDA, is played. Alright, the Chew Cases of the FDA from IDW Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, the game is not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. First, it is a very, very light game. I would put this in the gateway game / family game genre. Definitely fits that bill. This is probably not one you're going to be busting out on a game night anytime soon. So yeah, take that for what you will. Also, there's a lot of take that in this game. You will be getting slapped over and over and over and over and over in this game. Especially if you're playing at lower player counts and there's only 1 or 2 other people to attack. And that's in the form of just cards people are going to be playing on you, and cards people are going to be putting on your mystery, and you're going to be getting negatives played on you, and then there's the chogs. Oh, let's get to the chogs. My biggest problem with this game lies with these awesome components that are known as the chogs. Now, the chogs, as we talked about in the middle part, are the currency in the game. However, when there are no currency left for you to take, which doesn't really take too much impact in a 2 and sometimes 3-player game. However, when you get to 5 players, this will happen consistently. So when you run out of chogs, you can just take the chogs that you need from other people. This mechanic really I did not like, and most people I played with did not like, even though some people actually did enjoy this and thought that it fit with the take that appeal of the game. However, I really hated that mechanic. I just wish there was either more chogs or just a different rule or something like that. So any cons with the game? Next, this Drawstring Bag. Nice Drawstring Bag. It's a really cool, awesome Drawstring Bag. However, it serves next to no purpose for the game. The last con I have with the game is with this box. The box is really cool looking. It's nice, it's thematic, it appeals to people. However, and I'm not using hyperbole here, I legitimately think you could fit 10 copies of this game into that box. That is ridiculous. When you can fit just about everything inside the box in this little Drawstring Bag, aside from the rule booklet, and yet you come with this giant box, that is a slight problem. Any other cons I have with the game, though? No. Because it sounds like I'm really bashing on this game. But I just want people to know what they're going into when they get this game. I can definitely recommend this game, and I personally like this game if you are in the market for a lighter game, a family game, that has a lot of Take That. If you like Take That, this one might be one you want to check out. If you're in the market for a lighter gateway game, this might be one you want to check out. And this is one more thing I forgot to mention in the cons, that yes, the theme is going to definitely appeal to some people and draw some people into this game, but the theme really does not come through. While they tried really hard with the drawstring bags and the cool plastic chogs and some fantastic artwork and even including a comic book in there, which is awesome, the theme still does not come across. But continuing on with the pros, I did enjoy the game. It was fun. It's light, it's quick, it's simple. The rules are by no means too complex. And when I look at a gateway game, I look at a couple of things. Is it easy to learn? Is it easy to teach? Can I explain it in under 5 minutes? This one definitely fits that bill. And for that, I can recommend the game. However, if you are not in the market for a lighter game, if you are not in the market for a family game, if you do not like too much take that in your game, then I can't really recommend this game. However, if you are, or if you really like the theme, then I think True Cases of the FDA from IDW Games is one that you might want to check out. So if you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know, have you read True Cases of the FDA? I have not, even though I have been told by my editor, Eric, who loves the comic series, that it's amazing and that I need to check it out, even though it does sound like an interesting comic. But I have the first comic over here, and hopefully I'll get it read sometime in the near future. And by the way, that is a really cool thing to include in the game. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to click on the subscribe button down below, and I already said that part, so thanks for your time, YouTube. That was the review for True Cases of the FDA. For more reviews and previews, check back at Bowers Game Corner.